What's up, gamers and geeks? Matt here with That's Fair Podcasting and Gaming Geeks Live. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about a guy named Chris Stockman. Now, Chris Stockman is the original OG creator of the very first Saints Row back in 2006. And he has recently been teasing a prequel. And now this is more or less becoming more of a pitch. And he is now pushing to actually create a prequel to the first Saints Row that is supposed to take place in the 70s. And I have to say, with Chris Stockman back on board, I would be more than happy to see the Saints Row franchise be resurrected. So stay tuned. I don't know about you, but I really did actually have a massive love for the Saints Row franchise. Like, again, 2006 when it first released to 2008 Saints Row 2, which I thought was the pinnacle of the entire series. I can just tell you that with Chris Stockman involved, this could actually be something that could, I think, jumpstart the franchise. But if you are new here, please feel free to subscribe to That's Fair Podcasting or Gaming Geeks Live. Maybe like the video, help us in that algorithm. If you don't do any of that crap and you just sit here and watch this pointless video, thank you so much. That's what matters the most to me. So in 2006, when the original Saints Row came out, it was more of a GTA spoof or a spin-off of a sort of just a more humorous aim at an open city like Grand Theft Autos were giving us. And it was by Volition and THQ. And it literally was a crime-filled city that was called Stillwater at the time. And, you know, you meet Julius and you get jumped in by these Saints, and you had Johnny Gat, you know, and you had all these people, all these Saints Row characters that instantly came to life. You had Lynn with the Rollers, I think the West Side Rollers, I don't remember. But anyway, I just remember that, you know, you felt part of like this gang. You felt initiated in this gang. It took Johnny Gat half the time, mind you. But it's still, the replay value of that game is actually high, even if the graphics aren't. But it also introduced wonderful little side quests, you know. So, you know, this has me a little bit excited. And in 2008, when the sequel came out, Saints Row 2, I thought it was sort of a warm-up game. I was waiting for other games to come out, like Fallout 3, I believe. And I got Saints Row 2, and I ended up liking that, I think, almost better, because it really opened up new ground, and you became the leader of the 3rd Street Saints. Obviously, you had to be brought back to life, so to speak. But, you know, there was, all me and my wife Mandy did was system link this game and play it together, because we had our Xbox 360, so we had like telephone cords and just system link so it could be in each other's games. And I remember some of the activities like Fuzz, when you had the guy running around having you dress like a cop and act like a cop. Use this chainsaw for more dramatic effect. And then insurance fraud had me cracking up so bad, because, as you know, you're collecting money, throwing yourself in front of these vehicles that it got really outrageous how you remember. I know fans of Saints Row remember these activities all well. And it just didn't, when Saints Row 3 came along, I believe in 2010 or 11. Anyway, Saints the Third came along. It just didn't have the same feel. I mean, you know, even the gangs that they introduced you weren't nearly as what they were in Saints Row 2. Because like in Saints Row 2, you had the Ronin, which were my favorite, Sons of Samedi, and the Brotherhood. And again, like in the first one, you had Los Carnales and West Side Rollers, and I'm drawing a blank on the yellow group. But anyway, Saints Row 3, it didn't really give me that feel. The graphics changed, the engine changed, it changed too much. And then in 2013, Saints Row 4 came out, and it had you play the President of the United States, so to speak. And what's sad is, unpopular opinion, I'm going to say it, I liked Saints Row 4 better than Saints the Third. I liked the simulator that gave you those superpowers. Like I said, you start off as the President of the United States, you got that alien, what was his name, Kinyak or something like Zinyak, invading the world. And then you have to enter this simulator, and me and my wife, again, played. We had a blast with that on co-op, and it was hard to jump back into vehicles after you'd been jumping over the city and gliding across it and all these superpowers. Stupid. but a blast, and I never played Gat Out of Hell. I never did play that. It came out in 2015. And then 2022 came the Saints Row reboot, and that was just absolute dog shit. Just total ass. You had these characters that were uninspiringly weak. They were a little too progressive. I think they were trying to make ends meet by I don't know, were they former or current college students? I don't remember, trying to pay their way through, but it just did not give you that Saints Row feel. I will say, what was the name of the city? Santa Alesso? I actually really enjoyed the exploring of Santa Alesso. I don't remember what it was called, but I remember the city. I never finished that game, but I remember exploring the city, and I actually had a blast with that. I thought they did a really good job on the city. The city was the only good part about that game that I can recall. And then after that after-school special of a video game in Saints Row, the 2022 reboot, Volition would close its doors permanently. It was game over for that. THQ actually closed their doors like almost a decade before, if not a decade before. But this all but just destroyed Volition. There was no saving Volition. And so it literally left the Saints Row series dormant and dead. Now, Chris Stockman is seemingly wanting to bring this franchise back to what made it great. All the way back to the first Saints Row. He wants to give you that feel. He wants to bring everything back into perspective that made the Saints Row, the Third Street Saints, actually relevant. And I hope they scrap Saints Row reboot completely, because I thought it was total dog shit. Chris is working with a dev company, I believe. He's bringing it to what's called Deep Silver Studios. He's bringing them and pitching them that idea. And if that takes off, we're going to get a prequel to the original Saints Row that will probably have a lot of Julius. It could revolve a lot around Julius. I'm not saying you'll play Julius. You'll probably still create your own protagonist. But Julius should have been one of the OGs back in the 70s. So we'll see. And with Julius returning, voiced hopefully again by Keith David, who also voiced the Admiral, I believe, in Mass Effect. You're going to have Benjamin King too, most likely. So you could have Julius and Benjamin King, who are pretty big figures in the first Saints Row, that this could revolve around, I'm kind of hoping. And this is looking to restore the Saints Row feel, or restore the franchise, and maybe reboot it in the correct way and get it back in business. Like, do you remember playing Saints Row, especially Saints Row 2, and like Freckle Bitches, the commercials? You had all these awesome commercials that... you can't beat our meat, and there was just, I want that Saints feel. I don't know, I'd like to know from you guys in the comment section, did you get the Saints feel from the reboot in 2022? I sure as hell didn't, and I'm definitely hoping that this prequel is exactly what Chris Stockman's looking to do, to actually bring it back to the forefront. To close out the video, what I'm hoping for is just a few things, nothing huge. I hope a deep character customization like we always got. From the customizing the appearance and whatnot. I love character customization. I can spend hours on that and keep it in third person as it always has. Weapons and old school 70s clothing styles too, Let's be realistic, man. This was the 70s, so you might have those pimps with the big cane and the big brim hats and the fur coats. And so I would like to see a lot that revolves around what Julius and Benjamin King can do. And lastly, I'm obviously hoping for more co-op. I hope it's not just single player. I hope it gives you that option. But much like even that shitty reboot in 2022, you could still play co-op. I'm pretty sure this will do the same thing. But anyway, guys, that's really all I had. I'm really looking forward to this reboot for Saints Row. I call it a reboot, but let's just call it a prequel. That's what it is. And I think that Chris is going to make this right again. And God knows we could use the Saints Row titles coming back again. But anyway, that's really all I had. Thank you so much for watching. If you found it interesting, please feel free to like the video. Maybe subscribe to That's Fair Podcasting or Gaming Geeks Live. And if you don't do any of those and you just watch this pointless video, that's all that matters. Thank you so much. And to all you gamers out there, all love, and I'm outro.